Hello everyone. So I'm finally making my video getting back to the basics today of Christianity. And we're going to be talking about the Ordo Salutis. Okay? Sorry it's a little loud. I'm trying to turn on the water to my garden right now so it can get to water. And I was by my air conditioner unit because that's where it is. See that over there? That's our chicken pen we're building. And there is my lovely garden that I've been growing. While I record this video, I'm going to let that start watering. And I'm going to water the rest of my plants, okay? So the Order Salutis, Order of Salvation. Now, I'm sure for most of y'all are saved and y'all don't really understand an order to salvation. Well, why would you need an order to salvation? So that's what we're going to be focusing on, talking about today while we're outside, just kind of chilling a little bit. Okay? Yeah, you can see a ladder in the background because that's what happens when you're married to somebody who does carpentry their whole life. Okay. So, I've been trying to get back to the basics at church because it just seems to me like there's a major breakdown in Christianity, okay? It's like they want to get you saved, or they want you to be saved, and I'm going to use air quotes on this. They want you to say the prayer and get baptized and join the church, but it's like nobody's really discipling you or explaining to you the steps that happen afterwards, okay? So the Ordo Salutis is the order of salvation, or the sequence of events that should make up the process of salvation. Now, a lot of people would say, okay, I go up to the altar, I say a little prayer, I'm baptized, boom, done, I'm saved. Okay, well, this actual order of salvation is a long, lifelong process, actually, in order to not only become saved, but to stay saved and become glorified once you reach heaven. Now, I know for some of y'all, if y'all are Baptists, it's going to blow your mind. Lose salvation. Yeah, you can lose your salvation. You definitely can. Salvation is the deliverance from the power and the effects of sin, which if you are a Christian, you already know this. Well, there are multiple steps to the Ordo Salutis, which include election, calling, regeneration, conversion, justification, adoption, sanctification, perseverance, and glorification. Okay? Now, today I'm just going to talk about the election. Your election in actually becoming saved. The election is the act of God choosing whom He will save according to His divine purpose. Wait a second. God chooses who's going to be saved? Yes. Now, God chooses for everyone to be saved, but He gives us free will in order to choose whether or not we will actually accept that election to be saved. Now, I know that there's some pastors out there that they're going to say that they are Christians, and they really are not. They are wolves in sheep clothing, okay? So you need to be aware of who you are actually listening to, and if you actually are saved, okay? That's why I'm doing this series, going back to the basics, to line everything out and to make sure that you have your salvation. Your salvation is secured. You know that when you die, you are going to heaven and that you will actually do it, okay? So, God chose people from the beginning. It was predestined before you were born, before you existed, before the beginning of time. It was predestined. In Ephesians 1:4, I got my handy-dandy Bible today with me. Marked, so it makes things a little bit easier. Ephesians 1:4 says, as He hath chosen us in Him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before Him in love, who hath predestined us to be adopted through Jesus Christ in Himself, according to the pleasure of His will. There's that word adoption. See, that's part of this order of salvation. But you see, it was predestined before the world was even formed. You were chosen for a reason to live and to be saved. God's divine purpose over your life. Never say, well, God didn't call me to do anything. Yes, He called you to be saved, and that's something right there. 1 Thessalonians 1, 4 through 5. I'm probably said that terribly, but it's 1 Thessalonians 1, 4, and 5. Now, throughout this teachings, you're going to hear a lot written by Paul. Now, you've got to understand that Paul was persecuting the people who were following Jesus at first. Then he literally had to be blinded so that his eyes could open to the actual truth and salvation. I find what happened to Paul very similar to what happened to me. I was very blind inside worldly things until I finally came to Christ. Okay? So, reverencing a lot of the writings that Paul teaches us, you've got to understand that he was the exact opposite of what he's writing and what he was teaching. That's why it's so important. He wants you to understand the importance of all of this information so that you will truly be saved. You will truly be walking like Christ, and you will truly be glorified at the end of the age. Okay? So 1 Thessalonians 1, 4, and 5. Got to understand God chose you. Knowing, beloved brotherland, that ye are the elect of God. You are the what? The elect of God. For our gospel was not unto you in word only, but also in power, and in the Holy Ghost, and in much assurance, as ye know after what manner we were among you for your sakes. Okay, so God chose you as the very elect. I know a lot of people say, oh, no, the very elect was only at that time. No, the very elect is any believers in Jesus Christ. That is the very elect. This is not what the world imagines as the very elect. Okay? Romans 3, 9 and 8. And the next one is in Romans as well. Romans 3, 9 and 8. 8 and 9. 9 through 18. My bad. 9 through 18. What then? Are we more excellent? No, in no wise, for we have already proved that all, both Jews and Gentiles, are under sin. None of us are more excellent than anybody else. We were all under sin. As is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that understandeth. There is none that seeketh God. They have all gone out of their way. They have been made altogether unprofitable. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Their throat is an open sepulchre. They have used their tongues to deceive. The poison of asp is under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Let's be honest, a lot of us have done that. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and calamity are in their ways. Whoa, do we see that every day now. And the way of peace they have not known. The fear of God is not before their eyes. Now this is just to remind you that this is you without God. Yet He still chose you. He still chose you out of all of this, out of all the evil that we do, out of all the cussing, all the name calling, all the backbiting, all the gossiping, all the ridiculous things that we do because we live in the flesh. God still chose you. God still chose you. Even after all of that. Romans 8:28. Thought I was going to say Romans 8:8. No. Romans 8:28 through 30. 28 through 30. Also we know that all things work together for the best unto them that love God. That's misquoted a lot. Okay? It's taken out of context a lot. Even to them that are called of His purpose. We are all called for God's purpose. Okay? For those which He knew before, He also predestinated to be made like to the image of His Son, that He might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom He predestinated, them also He called, and whom He called, them he justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. You see, that's a process. It's not just a one-time thing at a church one time when you were about 12 years old. It is an ongoing process to be justified, to be sanctified, to persevere through all of this that is going on in the world, to persevere and to truly love God throughout it. I see ladies post this a lot of the all things work together for the good for those that love God. Romans 8:28. I see that all the time, but you've got to understand right before it, it says in 27, it says he searches the hearts, knowing what is the meaning of the Spirit, for he makes a request for the saints according to the will of God. You have to truly love God. And a lot of people can say, oh yeah, I love God in the good times. But it's not just the good. It's the rough. It's the crushing economy. It's the war. It's the shortages. It's the famine. It's the hunger. It's the pain. It's the frustration. It's the persecution. That you still hold on to that love of God, because that's the one thing that they can't take away. I want to quote Braveheart really badly and say, they can take away this and that, but they can't take away our freedoms. Guess what, folks? That's something that's being taken away every single day. Slowly, every single day, we keep losing our freedoms. We do. That is why I'm going back to the basics and teaching you folks to be saved, to reverence God, to love him, because he chose you out of this awful, cruel, disastrous world. That his plan is coming. It is coming. And I think it's coming a lot sooner than most people realize. So I hope you stay safe, you stay vigilant, and you work to get your own knowledge of God. Until next time, keep praying, keep believing, and keep finding the good of the Lord and sharing the Lord with every single person you know. I'll be praying for you, and God bless.